This program is proudly brought to you by Sportingbet.
Hello and welcome to Chewing the Fat. And if you tuned in last week, I can hear you counting the cash this week, as our studio guest Danny Nikolic won the Australian Guineas with a perfect ride aboard Machine. Nikolic was very bullish and the horse duly saluted. Our co-host Bree Lachlan sent punters home with a big smile after tipping $13 winner Raspberries in the lucky last at Flemington. So stay tuned this week and hopefully we can do it again. But first, a very warm welcome to my co-hosts, Edward Sadler and Natalie Hunter. How are you guys?
Always good to be here, Nick.
And this Saturday, Super Saturday, possibly the best day outside of Derby Day, any day on the calendar.
It is, and not just here, but also in Sydney with their Chipping Norton meeting. So it's going to be a terrific day of racing around the country.
Super Saturday is going to be exciting, but what is also exciting is that we've got Simon Marshall on the show today.
Simon will be a great guest, I'm sure. I can't wait for that interview, and obviously a big day Super Saturday if you cut short your European holiday to come back for us.
Yes, just having a look at some of the European horses last week, but back here.
You found something
again
for the spring this year, Nat, or
I don't
you're going to keep those ones to yourself?
Don't want to give away too many secrets, Edwin. Maybe as we get closer, I'll start to have a little prediction, but no, really looking forward to this Saturday.
Well, with 4 of the top 5 favourites in the Australian Cup European horses, maybe, you have got 1 or 2 that you might be keeping up your sleeve for the spring.
I could totally be the European specialist.
Yes, that would be definitely right up your alley.
Yeah,
I know I heard Nat mention to a bookie something about American, so...
Edward, that's secret.
Sorry.
Don't go revealing secrets on the show, Edward, you'll get in trouble. But we're going to take a break here on Chewing the Fat, and when we return we'll be joined on the couch by 15-time Group 1 winning jockey, Simon Marshall.
Sportingbet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sportingbet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sportingbet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sportingbet.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. It now gives me huge pleasure to welcome former superstar jockey Simon Marshall to the studio. Simon, thank you for joining us.
Great to be on the couch, boys. Thanks for having me.
Now, before we get on to the BC3, which you're involved in now, we'd just like to touch on your racing career. 15-time Group 1 winning jockey. Obviously, you rode some fantastic horses. Going to a day like Super Saturday, does it bring back a lot of emotions?
When I'm going through the form for the Group 1 races, I do reflect, just noting how races will be run over that distance, Newmarket, Australia Cup and so on. But in terms of bringing back emotions, I think when I meet the guys like Ali Friedman and trainers that I rode Group 1 winners for and Bart and so on, we do tend to reflect then, but it's not on my mind on these type of days. It's a new day. We've got new talent to discuss and obviously, dissect the race and tactics and that sort of stuff. And a lot of form goes into that, a lot of homework and a lot of time. And it's the apprehension and the tension of a day that sort of you get all caught up with. Yeah, it's good fun.
Because, of course, you won the Australia Cup 18 years ago with Durbridge, who was a particular favourite of yours.
Yeah, he was a ripper. He was a ripper for many ways because I was fortunate enough to jump on him later in his career after he bowed attendant. He won an AJC Derby as a 3-year-old, and I jumped on him for Lee in an 1100 metre sprint race. I think Alanon and Caltrice went on to win the race. I flew home, made up 16 lengths from last, and finished 3rd in the race. I then won my next 3, including the Australia Cup in that preparation. And then he went on to win Group 1 races in Sydney, the Queen Elizabeth George Main, and also the Group 3 Hollandale and Group 1 Doomben Cup in Brisbane. So when we talk favourite horses, best horses, I think he's at the top of the tree. Yeah.
Was it true you had the karaoke set list going through the Australia Cup there that year?
Had a little, yes, it was a little bit of a confusion amongst the lads that were travelling behind me in the race. He was a stallion that was very competitive, and it didn't take much for him to get upset, fire up, and then want to over-race. And if he couldn't relax Durbridge in his first 100 and 150 metres by bouncing out of the barriers, and he fired up and he over-raced and burnt too much petrol, you were never going to win with the horse. And he was always going to run too fast and burn too much petrol. So I think it was the first day that I met him at Caulfield in that race, in that sprint race over 1100. Best way to make friends with a horse, do you ride?
Not me, no. Quinny?
Very little.
Well, if you're ever going to ride a horse, first thing you must do is go up and say hello to it, make friends with it. Might sound a little bit stupid, but it's like meeting someone's dog for the first time. You kneel down, you put your hand out, you let it smell you, and so on. You talk to it with a kind voice. Thoroughbreds are exactly the same, and that was the way I was educated and taught. So once you've made contact and they can hear your voice and you give them a pat, that was the case with Durbridge in the mounting yard. Lee was standing there waiting to leg me on the horse, and I'm patting him down the shoulder and the neck and feeling my girth to make sure it was nice and tight, and I went up and gave him a pat on the forehead, and he tried to bite me and kick me and run me over, and he didn't really like it at first. And Lee was calling me everything under the sun to hurry up and get on the horse, you idiot, what are you doing? But
Probably a lot of things too you can't repeat on camera.
Oh yes, yes, correct. But, you know, I spent time with him on the ground, and then I got legged up. And then I grabbed him by the mane and just kept patting him and dagging him and, you know, aren't you a pretty boy? You're a good boy. That's a boy. And he was listening, and it wasn't until I bounced out onto the track and was able to do my prelim to the barriers that we felt a connection, and he stopped pulling because he nearly bolted on me. Because I didn't want to rein him up, I just let him go on a loose rein, and that was a mistake. But he quit, you know, about 150 before the 1100 metre start at Caulfield, and he stopped and he accepted the fact that I wasn't there to fight him. So every time I got on him, I'd just hum and sing to him, and then we started winning races. And yeah, in the Australia Cup, I rolled through 4 or 5 songs, and you know, as history will tell you, it was a great result.
How did you come to think of doing that? That just seems so left field.
I tend to think that every time I bounced out of a barrier on a horse, I tried to get them in a rhythm. Your first furlong is building speed, momentum. Your second furlong should always be posing up and trying to fit your horse into a pattern that it is suited, on speed, midfield or back. And once you roll through that second furlong, you should have a bit of a beat and a bit of a rhythm, and you should understand what seconds you're running every furlong pole. And in order to do that, I would count that next 200 metres. First furlong, second furlong, I would count that furlong pole and see what speed, and understand what speed I was going. 13 and a half, 14 seconds, depending on the tempo. Once I got that beat into my head, I then transfer that into a song.
Did that help you relax as well?
I think it sends a vibe down the rein through your hands to the horse, because they've got a very soft mouth, the horse, and you're steering them with a steel bit. So all these little things add up on the day. So we started with a bit of Neil Diamond, Song Blue. Everybody knows one. You a fan of Neil?
A bit before my time, Simon.
Well, you should get it out. It's fantastic. A bottle of wine one day.
Might be your sort of stuff, Quinny.
Yeah, well, I'm a big Neil Diamond fan, so...
Well, that rolled us to the 1,000 metre mark, and then, of course, we had to switch to a little bit of Daddy Cool, because we were rolling around 13 and a halves, and over a mile and a quarter, that's great tempo, because you just backed it off. Captain Cook led the race by 4, and I was racking and stacking the second section behind me with Naturalism and Station Hand and these... sorry, it wasn't Naturalism, Mahogany, who was favourite for this day. Anyway, we get to the 600 metre mark where there's always pressure. And there you've just got to squeeze your horse, roll your toes out, give him a squeeze with the heels and let him know that there's pressure coming and you want to travel into it. And James Brown was always good. I feel good. No. He's pinned his ears back and he loved that. But when you were starting to let down from the 6 to the 400, it was always nice. He had a little quirk, Durbridge, being a stallion, that I always tried to try something different when I was pressing the button on him. And the more I rode him, the more he was waiting for me to do something different, and he would really want to go and use that turn of foot. And I always liked to part my reins, get my whip bridge up so it was in one hand, And then I'd pull my whip out as if I was going to give him a crack with the right hand, but then I'd put it in, pass it through to the left hand and go tap really quickly. And, you know, he'd be watching this and he'd know that he was going to get a tap from somewhere. And when he got a little cuddle from the whip, he just level out and away he went. And Michael Jackson was the best for that. Beat it, yeah, beat it. No one wants to be defeated. But I was always a great opportunity to get up the boys that I beat, because we're very competitive, the jockeys. And singing "We Are the Champions" by Queen when I was pulling him up to the top of my lungs was a lot of fun.
Well, that's quite incredible. So very creative, and obviously got the job done. Now, horse racing isn't just a profession for yourself. It seems to be a way of life. Obviously, a champion jockey. Then you've worked in the media, and now you're involved in bringing other people into horse racing, which is something so close to your heart. Tell us about the industry you're involved now.
BC3 Thoroughbreds is our company, and what we are is we're a ready-to-run 2-year-old sale. So we head out and purchase. Bill Vlahos, our CEO, had the vision and met a gentleman by the name of John Brocklebank, 2008 at the Magic Million Yearling Sales. John Brocklebank is the B. He's head trained, and he's an American breeze-up sale outfit. John, he's been developing that model in America for 30 years, and his trainer up there was Shane Chipman. So that's where the B and the C Chipman comes into play. And the three is, there was 3 initial investors that would put in a pool of money in order to go and buy a draft of horses at the yearling sales. Anyway, Bill as an owner thought that that was the best way to go and buy a horse, to wait a little bit longer until it was 2, and then have a look at its action, let it roll up 200, and then purchase what you could see in front of you. And he liked the transparency of a sale model that would have x-rays on horses and scopes on horses, and the price was set. So Bill went ahead to develop a team. He approached me prior to 2009. We got together. I could see that a 2-year-old sale had a bad taste in its mouth in Australia. And I thought, after asking a lot of questions to some industry leaders, that we could turn things around and develop a model that was transparent, gain the trust and confidence back in the industry again, and that's what we've been doing.
And obviously you've succeeded, because your winning strike rate is absolutely unbelievable. Over 30% winners to runners. That must just sell itself.
Yeah, last year's statistics was very good for us, 56 winners from our drafts of 2008, and that consists of 2008 16 horses purchased. Deer Valley was a Group 3 winner out of that year's draft. 2009 we purchased 32 horses. We all know that Dark Valley beat Crystal Lily in the Debutant. That was a month after our sale. And that was in the Debutant at Caulfield. And 2010 we purchased 35 horses, and you know, that was that draft there that really fired up for us last year. 17 2-year-old winners and runners, for 12 winners and 10 individual winners. Uarte was a Group 3 winner out of that.
Trialled very well the other day behind Haylist as well.
He's back. Christian Lee, who trains him, he had a bit of a rough trot with him last spring, but he looks as though he's got him back, and we wish all the guys good luck there. And of course, this year's draft, we only purchased 16 horses, and Malasan was a great marquee horse for us, winning the Blue Diamond Preview first up.
Now, can we just finish with a horse that the viewers should be able to follow from your team over the coming months, and most importantly, a tip for the Australian Cup, please?
It's a pleasure, boys. I think Malasan's a class filly. She pulled up with some growing pains in the prelude leading into the Blue Diamond, but she's a high-class filly, and Mick Price has got a huge opinion, so please follow her. I would tend to think it's quite interesting, the Australian Cup this year. It's a small field. But isn't it ironic that these international horses who dominate the betting in Americain, Lucas Cranach, Ilo, and Managar, now with the Moody team, all these horses were able to stay back after last year's Melbourne Cup. You saw Managar win over 1600 first up. You saw Lucas Cranach win brilliantly over 14 first up. Ilo ran out of his skin, and I'm really looking forward to Americain standing up first up, fresh, staying in Australia for half a season and running over 1.25 miles. It's going to be a great battle of tactics, and at this stage I'm sticking with Lucas Cranach because his turn of foot is just unbelievable. I thought his run in the Caulfield Cup with a cracked heel was outstanding. Because when Corey popped him out at the 800, he went whoosh. and showed that he was a high-class horse.
Well, there we go. An Australian Cup winning jockey, hopefully steering us into the Australian Cup winner. Simon, thank you very much for joining us in the couch. You've been sensational, very enlightening. Those stories are incredible. We're going to take a short break on Chewing the Fat. When we return, we're going to find you a winner at Flemington on Super Saturday.
Sporting Bet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sporting Bet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sporting Bet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sporting Bet.
Super Saturday, and no, it isn't the last Saturday before Christmas, marking the end of the shopping season, as Wikipedia will tell you. There is only one real Super Saturday, and that is here at Flemington during the Autumn Carnival. Why Super Saturday, you might ask? Well, it is the one day which has not one, but two Group 1 races with the Lexus Newmarket Handicap and the Dubai Australian Cup. The Newmarket is run over 1,200 metres, and of course, being here at Flemington, it is a straight dash to the line. It allows a record 24 starters and attracts some of the greatest sprinters in the country. In the past, it has been won by Takeover Target, Ajax, and of course the mighty mare who surpassed Ajax's winning record, Black Caviar, who racked up her 10th consecutive win by taking out this wonderful race. The other Group 1 on the fixture, of course, is the Dubai Australian Cup over 2,000 metres. This race initially was run over a whopping 3,600 metres. It was then reduced to 3,500 metres in the 40s, 3,200 metres in the 60s, and shortly after to its current distance. This weight for age event is one of Victoria Racing Club's oldest events, still being run and won here at Flemington. Champions of the turf who have taken home this beautiful piece of silverware in the past include Mackay Diva, Northerly, Lonhro and Zipping. Now that is an impressive honour roll. Well, the smell of these roses and the freshly cut grass is giving me butterflies. It is going to be an extra super duper Saturday this weekend.
Well, the first of the Group 1s on Saturday is the Newmarket Handicap over 1,200 metres. Top weight Haylist is the favourite for the race, but he's taking on a very strong and large field. Let's have a look at the market, starting off with Haylist at $3.60, Bell Sprinter at $7, Rain Affair at $7.50 and Fox Wedge also at $7.50. Boys, what did you think?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because it's a cracking race. There are 23 horses, nearly a capacity field, and there's probably 18 legitimate winning chances. So if you like anything in this race for any reason at all, don't ask someone else what they think. Just go and have $1 each way and you'll be richly rewarded, not only if you find the winner, but if you can even fill a placing, because the dividends are going to be sensational. I've got Haylist on top. I know he's the top weight, but I think he's very well weighted, really. It is like a weight for age race for him, so I can't go past Haylist. He's the second best sprinter in the world. Didn't want to overcomplicate things and, read too much into it. I think he'll just be winning. The horse I've got running second is Rain Affair, the Sydney visitor. Tough, will be on pace, and I think he'll be right there at the pointy end of the race. Buffering, I've got the third. Loves the Flemington Straight. This has been the grand final for the horse the entire campaign, so I think Buffering will run a terrific race. And my roughie at about the $41 mark, Master of Design. What about yourself, Edward?
Quinny, I wouldn't have picked you for $1 each way sort of punter, but you learn something new every day. I agree with Haylist. What he did against Black Caviar last time, I mean, he took it right up to her until about the 150, and then her class just came away and she ended up winning by a length and a half on the line, which was one of her shortest winning margins in her history. But he's just an outstanding horse. The only query for me is the 58.5. I really like Fox Wedge for second. He has 50 kilos. There's 8.5 kilos is a lot of a difference in weight. I'm also keen on Rain Affair. He's won 10 of 11, so that's a pretty impressive stat. And the way he won the Apollo in Sydney was very impressive as well. Wirram, with these big fields, you've got 23 down the straight. There's going to be a lot of speed in the race. He's going to get back like he did in the Oakley Plate and run on. I can see him running a cheeky race as well.
What about yourself, Miss Hunter?
Well, I've gone with you guys. I've gone with Haylist and Rain Affair for first and second because I think they're two of the best sprinters in the country. And I've gone with Wurrum for third, and my roughie is Albert the Fat.
Well, I think you tipped Albert the Fat to win the Emirates Stakes, didn't you?
I did.
So
and he didn't let me down, so I'm going with him again.
Play with the winnings.
Sticking with a good thing.
Beautiful.
Well, of course, it's always a terrific race, the Newmarket. Let's have a look at what the connections had to say.
Beaded runs in the Newmarket, second in the Breeders last time.
Yeah, she's come back in good order, mate. She's had a good spell, long layoff, but she's had plenty of work. She raced very well on a rain-affected track. She was just a little bit unlucky at a vital stage of that race, but I think back to the straight, and she's performed well before, but it's a pretty hot race, and still expected to run well. That's all we can do from her. That's all she gives us.
Dean Mr. Chard's always been a promising horse, but unfortunately injuries have really plagued him.
Yeah, he did a suspensory quite badly in the Australian Guineas last year, and it was probably a huge effort to come from last and run fourth last year. But yeah, it's been a long 12 months trying to get him back on the track, and today he's had a jump out, and hopefully we can get him back on the track.
Live and Let Die, where's he at the moment?
Well, I've got him nominated for Adelaide as well. If he gets a run in the Newmarket, we'll probably run there. That would certainly be Lawrence's preference, but it looks hard at this stage, so he'd probably head to Adelaide.
That was an encouraging win too last time.
Oh, yeah, and there was a fair bit of improvement in it too, so he should run all right.
Lone Rock runs in the Newmarket. That was a very good run in the Lightning.
It was a terrific run. This is the race we sort of aimed her preparation at, and everything's gone as you would want. We haven't had any hiccups, and she's as fit as she needs to be. Drawn a middle gate, I think she gets her chance.
Okay, let's have a look at the other Group 1 on the card now. The Australian Cup over 2,000 metres at weight for age level. German import Lucas Cranach, an impressive winner at Caulfield last time, lines up as the favourite for the race. Let's have a look at that market. Lucas Cranach at $3, Americane at $3.20, Illo at $8 and Managar at $8.50. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, it's hard to go past Lucas Cranach. I think he's clearly the one to beat. He did nothing wrong in the spring when he was on 3 legs, flashing home in the Caulfield Cup and then running a place in the Melbourne Cup. He returned from a spell with a brilliant win at Caulfield first up, so it's very hard to go past him, and I think he'll be winning. The other horse I'm going to have an each-way wager on in the race, though, is Southern Speed. She was too bad to be true last start. It was a poor ride from Craig Williams.
He's our special guest next week.
Craig is a brilliant jockey, one of the best in the world, and I think he'd be the first to admit that it wasn't his best ride. Her form, apart from that, this campaign has been sensational. Winning at Caulfield, second to Black Caviar, so I'm confident Craig can put his best foot forward on Saturday and she can run a better race.
Is he really our special guest next week?
No, I just thought I'd try to get...
I'm a big fan of Craig Williams, everyone knows that.
I'm a bit of suspect of Southern Speed, I have to say. I think she won a very weak Caulfield Cup.
She beat Lucas Cranach in it.
Yeah, but he wasn't right. He would win that if he was right. Not a great race. She won first up. Black Caviar, she was the only other real class horse in that. Or, I don't know, I think it's really the International Cup on Saturday. Americane's a class factor, and I think... I know since the barrier draw, he was the favourite before the barrier draw. Since then, Lucas has been back into favouritism. He's drawn 9 American, but he was going to get back, at least according to my speed map anyway. So to me, it doesn't really make much of a difference. I think he's a class horse, and I think he'll win.
Okay, I've gone with Americane.
You can teaming with your cousin against me, are you?
Yep, I always go with Americane. I love Americane. It's one of my favourite horses, so I'm backing Americane.
Just backing it straight out, no Cornellas or trifectas?
No, just straight up.
Just back the winner and be done with it?
Yep.
Oh, well, good luck to you. You'll need it.
Well, speaking of American, this is what Gary Fennessy from the Hayes camp had to say.
Well, Gary, obviously very exciting to see American back on the Australian racetracks at Flemington Saturday in the Australia Cup, first up for the Hayes camp.
Yeah, it'll be our first time with him, and Dave's been very happy with him after the last few months, and no complaints with him. Touch wood, he's done everything right, and he's pretty confident going into the race. Probably, 2,000 metres is going to be a bit short for him, but going on the way the other English horses have all performed with the different training and that, we're pretty hopeful he can be right in it.
And he's had 2 track gallops at Seymour and then also Moonee Valley last Friday night.
Yeah, the one at the Valley was a good gallop. I watched that on the tally because I wasn't there, but he worked very strong.
Well, that wraps up our preview of racing for Flemington this Saturday. As we go to the break, we're going to leave you with a little clip from track watcher Warren Huntley on his thoughts for this weekend. You're watching Chewing the Fat.
Warren, a big day of racing here on Saturday. Let's look at some of the trials and jump outs we had this morning. Wirram and Buffering, the Heathcote pair.
Yeah, look, they work quite strongly, quite regularly, Wirram and Buffering. Michael Rod rode Buffering this morning and Mel Robert Heathcote's Foreman rode Wirram. They worked very strongly for horses not coming out of the barriers. They worked down the straight together. Very strong work. Both appeared to be working very comfortably. And look, they're both, Buffering ran a super race behind Black Caviar last time, and Wirram's coming off a Group 1 win. They certainly haven't gone backwards since then. The Newmarket Handicap's going to be a terrific race, but Robert Heathcote's horses invariably perform very well in Melbourne, and these horses have come back in great order, and their work this morning was really strong. I thought outside the jump outs, it was the highlight work of the morning.
Elo was also very good and coming off a good run last time in the St George. What did you think of his work?
Yeah, look, his work was very strong. He had blinkers on this morning in his work, and he worked really strongly with regular track rider Joe Agresta on, so he carries a fair bit of weight. I think just the fact that he's had that first preparation here, albeit a bit of a rushed one with Bart Cummings, but the fact that he's been able to have a spell, not a long one, but then come back, the benefit of having his second preparation with the Cummings stable and being able to start from scratch with him effectively is really showing the benefit, and he worked very well with blinkers this morning. The Australian Cup, I suppose we've got the imports of Lucas Cranach and Americane who head the betting, but Illo is a similar bracket, being an imported horse, and his form's looking really good now, so he's going to appreciate getting out to 2,000 metres, and I'm sure he'll like being at Flemington.
Sporting Bet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sporting Bet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sporting Bet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sporting Bet.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. Now let's turn our attention to racing at Warwick Farm this Saturday with the feature event, the Chipping Norton Stakes. Chris Waller has 3 runners in this 8-horse race, but the favourite is Cox Plate heroine Pinka Pinka. Let's take a closer look at the market. Pinka Pinka at $2.70, Shootout at $3, Dan Lee at $6 and Trusting also at $6. Nick, what do you think?
I think Pinka Pinka is a terrific bet. She was fantastic first up at Caulfield. She'll be better for the run. She loves Sydney. A lot of these horses are non-runners. The main rival in the market, Shootout, hasn't won for about 2 years now. Apart from him, lots of them have got convictions. I think Pinka Pinka is almost a moral.
I agree with that, but bear in mind with Shootout, he has had a lot of problems in the past couple of years, and just based on his last start run behind Rain Affair, to me anyway, he does look like he's back to his best or near that. And he was a top horse, obviously, winning an AJC Derby, Bletchingly, Liston Stakes, so when he's at his best, he is a very, very good horse. I'm going for Pinka Pinka, though, in saying that.
What about yourself,
What
Matt?
do you think? I always go for Pinka Pinka, and it's getting a bit embarrassing the way you two are copying me.
Despite the fact we're going first.
You know that I got
You
Pinka Pinka.
tip, in your defence, Nat, you did tip Pinka Pinka the first ever episode of Chewing the Fat, and you've stuck solid
Exactly.
since, so.
Oh, what a
I
little
stuck to a
love
good
fest
thing.
going on here.
I just
Cousins,
stick up
Nick,
for family.
cousins.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
Maybe, although I don't think I'd do the same if you were family, Nick.
Play on.
There's
Fortunately, that's not the case.
Well, I think that wraps up our preview of this weekend's racing action. Have we covered everything?
We have, but we've also got the tip against Nick. Now,
We
if
do.
you were paid, Nat, to give your tips in the paper, how do you think you'd go? Like, you'd put a bit of effort into it, I'm sure, if that was your full-time job. But how do you think you would go?
Well,
Will you tip a winner at least? Put it that way.
I did do some tipping last year for the Spring Carnival in the Herald Sun, and I think that I might have been the winner.
I think you were.
I think
You
I was
were.
the winner.
Because our man Nick Quinn's a paid form expert, and he tipped 0 winners last
It's
week.
getting embarrassing.
It is. It's getting costly too.
It's
but
very costly.
it is. So congratulations to Dan from Brunswick, who last week won the tip against Nick's segment. Dan, there's a nice betting voucher coming your way. Adrian from Melbourne is our contestant this week. His tips will be on Facebook tomorrow or Saturday morning. Look out for it.
So do we know what his tip? No, he just
No,
puts
he's
them on
still
the
he's
net.
still mulling over the form, something that Nick Quinn obviously doesn't do.
Right,
Jeez, Edward
right.
Sadler getting a few in. It's fine. I'll be wrapping the show up. You might be regretting that one.
I've got stats to back up what I've said though.
We're going to take a break on Chewing the Fat. When we return, we'll wrap it all up.
Sporting Bet is built by punters for punters, so you get the very best experience. At Sporting Bet, you can expect more from the latest in customised betting with black books, favourites and iForm. Plus, Sporting Bet covers all the exotics, including trifectas, quinellas, exactas and first four. Bet fast online or at sbet.mobi on your mobile, anytime, anywhere. That's why there's no better bet than a Sporting Bet.
Welcome back to Chewing the Fat. We are now at the pointy end of the show where we're going to give you our best bets and our best roughies for this weekend's racing. Mind you, probably don't take too much notice of Nick's because, let's be honest,
They don't win.
they don't win.
Oh, jeez, another whack. No, it's fine. It's fine. Do your best.
Okay, go on. So are you going to prompt us to give our best bets?
No, I'm just going to tell you that race 1, number 1 at Flemington, Snitzerland, is a put-in, take-out job. This horse will be ultra hard to beat in the Golden Slipper. Will be winning on Saturday. A great way to start the day for the punters. And at about the $13 mark, very keen on one up in Sydney, Shannara, the little sister of
Taking
Superstar
on
Lonhro.
Secret Admirer.
Secret Admirer is a great horse, but I think at the odds, Shannara is the one you want to be on. Lonhro's little sister, bit of romance in there, something that's been very close to your heart in life lately, Edward. So I'm going to stick with Shannara.
What are its odds?
$13.
Oh, right, okay. So
Get on now. Do you think it'll shorten in the beat up, or is 13 the right price?
I think 13 will be pretty close to what she starts.
And if Snitzerland wins, will you have a schnitzel that night?
That was pathetic.
That was. My best bet on Ruffy for the weekend, I liked Harry Rocks. Mick Price said to me this morning on track work, 3 words, it will win. They're the 3 words you want to hear from me, trainer. And no smoke in the size produce, 1400, very consistent horse. And for roughies, you are looking for consistent horses, especially in 2-year-old races before their results can be terrific one week and ordinary the next because they're just learning about the game. This horse early in his career has already shown good consistency, and that's what I like.
Beautiful. Now, punters, get your pens ready. What have you got?
My best bet is Secret Admirer.
An open bet?
And your roughie?
My best roughie is Faulkner, actually.
Now, obviously, to get Natalie's magnificent tips and all the other information related to the show, the social media, getting bigger. If you want to be friends with us on Facebook, possibly see Edward update his relationship status.
But no, seriously, if you do want to win a betting voucher, we had a $100 betting voucher go to Mari from Aston. Another one's going to Dan from Brunswick. If you want to earn some easy cash,
good idea.
You can. All you have to do, I put up the Thursday before the show on the Facebook page. You just register below, comment on what I've put on, and you can be our contestant.
Beautiful.
I'm telling you,
what is the Facebook? Tell punters what the Facebook is so you can add us as a friend.
The Facebook is Chewing the Fat.
Chewing the Fat.
That's our name.
And the same with the Twitter. Edward and Natalie, you've been on the couch, and that is all we have time for on Chewing the Fat. It's been a fantastic episode. Make sure you get to Flemington this Saturday for what really is Super Saturday, and we look forward to seeing you this time next week.
This program is proudly brought to you by Sporting Bet.